All right, y'all. What's up? What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back to your favorite WMMA show. Hashtag CB99 Talks. It's episode 213. Back in the building, y'all. What's up? Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a good weekend. We back in the building. What's going on, Marcus Bell? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's good, Two Beasts? What's up? What's going on? Shout out to Two Beasts for cutting that little intro for the mashup show too. I've been meaning to say that. Appreciate that. Yeah, we back again, y'all. Had some pretty decent fights this weekend. Well, 75%. So far, WMMA still hitting. I mean, the bantamweight fight, look, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. It wasn't the best performance on either side, but y'all know what I mean. Other than that, the strawweight fights delivered, right? They did deliver. I was pleased with the performances, and that's what I expected from those ladies too. As far as what they were doing. So, yeah, yeah. I mean, the past few cards, it's been on point. It's been on point. I can't say anything different. The Dumont Ketlin fight, it didn't really bring my high down. I mean, I did want to see Dumont make a bigger statement, but I, we just can't ever get it like that, right? We can never get like a perfect streak every now and then, but it can only go on for so long, right? So let me stop asking for too much. Hey, what's going on? Dang, hold on. That's my hold on. I'm trying to pull this thing up here so I can see your names. What's up, Smiling Aurora? It only has your username. Yeah, Tiago. Dang, Tiago. What's up, Tiago and Tay Tay? What's up? So yeah, we got a few things to talk about, man. We got some fights this weekend, of course. But I want to talk about the strawweight fights. I want to talk about this Ardelean war with Ruiz and Alencar and Carnelossi's performance. What's next for Alencar? And then, of course, we're going to talk some Norman Ketlin debacle. What's up, Tay Tay and Sergio? What's up, Sergio? And Chin. I ain't seen Chin in a minute now. What's up, Chin? Chin. Is that Chin? Did you change your name? Some names just ring a bell, and I remember seeing Chin. Yeah, yeah. What's up? What's going on? Well, yeah, man. Yeah, like I said, the card was pretty decent as far as the women's fights go. The main event delivered. Shout out to Steve Garcia. That's my man. That's my man BJ's, boy right there. He's done some interviews with him. Steve Garcia continuing his finish streak. Still putting them together, still doing it. And man, he knocked Onama out, boy. He put him out of there. So, that was a good main event. I had stuff to do too. So I was like, I can't be up all late. I can't be up all late. So he delivered, man. He said, hey, let's do this in one round. And I could go to bed. I could go straight to bed. Tay Tay, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. You know, um, I didn't tell y'all, but I did post on IG. I ran my first marathon. I ran my first marathon this weekend, so I might as well tell y'all that. That's what I've been training for. Man, that thing was no joke either. I run a lot. I run a lot of other races like 3 miles and 5 miles and 10 miles, and I've done 13 a number of times. But man, running 26 miles is no joke. Running 26 is on another level, man. But hey, I did it. That's why I was resting and recovering part of yesterday and all of today. It ain't no joke, man. That's that real road work right there. Yeah. Oh, appreciate it, T. Two weeks. Yeah, man. Whew. It is crazy. It's crazy. You know, I see so many other people do it. I say, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. Part of the way through, your mind starts feeling like you can't. But then as you get closer, man, you get that second win and you just keep going and you keep going. So, yeah, I made it through. I made it through. Thank God. But yeah, this weekend, decent. This first fight here. Hold on real quick. Sergio said, what meal did you have after the marathon? Oh man, I had some chicken fried steak and some pancakes. Then when I got home, I fixed these like gourmet hot dogs. And tonight I'm still cheating. I'm about to eat some fried chicken tonight. I'm sorry. It's been a while. It's been a long time. It's been a while since I had some. Well, let me see. What was the last time I did have fried chicken once last month, but I need some fried chicken, so I'm having some. I'm having some more tonight. So this cheat thing is going to go from at least 2 or 3 days. I can't just do it one day. I got to cheat at least 3 or 4 days after doing that. So Tay Tay said, I'll be frying that chicken. Yeah, that's what I need. I denied myself fried chicken for a long time. I've gone like a year, almost a year without fried chicken, and when I have it, boy, I'd be like, it's even better. It's even better. And I haven't had lasagna in a long time. I haven't had lasagna in a long time. What else haven't I had? Well, I had pizza not too long ago, but yeah, there's some. Yeah, ooh, fried chicken does sound good. So when I get off here, I'm gonna be eating some fried chicken, just so you know. Marcus, I need a cheat meal right about now. Yeah, yeah, appreciate it, Sergio. But yeah, let's get into this card, man. There was some good fights this weekend. First off, I'm gonna give my post-fight thoughts on this one. Alice Ardelean defeating Montserrat Ruiz. First off, I gotta say, look, I know I always judge the ladies when it comes to lack of defense, but look, lack of defense paid off in this fight. Look, if you want to come in head first and get hit by a bunch of strikes, I'm fine with that sometimes, you know. And when some fighters lack defense and they fight the way these two do, it's going to turn into a banger. It's going to turn into a banger. And Alice Ardelean, I mean, I already knew going into this fight, this girl was going to be throwing volume. She was going to come with some aggression and just that heart, that heart. Like she's still lacking, like I said, some skill sets to get into the top 15. But I like how she fights. She's entertaining and she delivered. All right. Montserrat Ruiz, I know, look, we've been knocking this girl, but hey, I don't know if they're going to keep her. I don't know if she's going to get another chance, but I at least saw a little bit of improvement in Montserrat Ruiz. I think Ruiz, her stand-up game got a little bit sharper. It did get a little bit sharper, right? Y'all agree with me on that, right? I mean, she lost 3 in a row, but working with Alexa Grasso has kind of rubbed off. I saw her like tuck in her elbows into her, you know, keeping them tucked. I saw her chin a little bit more down and her form looked better. How she was throwing her punches. She seemed a little bit more confident in that, but it wasn't enough to beat Ardelean. Ardelean is a better striker. I just got to admit that she's a better offensive striker. And you see this long jab here. It was just constantly in Ruiz's face throughout the night. Ardelean didn't really have to adjust too much. Like, I think Ruiz hit her with some big shots in the first round, but couldn't really hurt her. So you saw Ardelean just come on stronger with that same combination. The same combination that I was calling in the live. It was like a straight right hand and a left hook. She just kept popping her with that same combination, that same 2-3, 2-3, 2-3. And Ruiz just never figured it out. She just never figured out how to get around that. And that's why I said, like, I don't really see like great improvements, but just enough like to get off some shots and make it a good fight. But, it was a little too much for her. Ruiz is still smaller. And with her just learning her striking, she's not really going to come in there and be able to beat a longer, better striker. She's still just like coming into that style and that frame. So, that's what kept her behind in this fight. Like, yeah, she did catch Alice a couple of times. She did catch her quite a number of times in the first round with her left hook and even that right hand. Cause I did see like Alice's face turning red in that first round. There were some hard punches, but Alice, I gotta give her credit. She got a good chin. And when you hit her, she'll hit you 3 times back. She was coming with some good shots. I don't know about y'all. It kind of reminded me of like a poor woman's version of Joanna versus Andrade. If y'all remember that fight like years back, it kind of reminded me of that fight of this girl right here trying to, get on the inside and hurt this taller, longer girl. But you just see Ardelean just popping this girl's chops with the same combination. And Ruiz wanted to go back to being a wrestler, but it just wasn't enough. You know, she wasn't strong enough. Ardelean's takedown defense was solid. So it was an easy 30-27 victory. I mean, each round was like the same. You know, we just saw Ruiz getting painted with this jab and that straight right hand getting her head snapped back. And she was leaking first, actually. Yeah, Ruiz was actually leaking first in this fight, which I was kind of surprised about. I thought Ardelean was going to be leaking first, but she was leaking too. So that prediction was right. Blood was everywhere. You know, there was blood all over him. But yeah, I went with Alice in this fight. I thought she was just going to have enough skill sets to get it done, you know. So yeah. That's Ruiz's fourth loss in a row, man. So I don't know, man. Like, some of y'all are right. She might be getting cut now. And if she does, I mean, there's always Invicta where she can go back and learn. I don't know how she would fare in her next fight either, you know. Like, if you wanted to give her another chance, I mean, there's always a Pooja Tomar. There's a Shauna Bannon. That's why I said, like, I would give her a chance against one of those fighters, because I know she has some injuries too. Like, she was fighting like once a year, then she was almost out for like 2 years. So I didn't want to be mean and just say, "Oh, cut this girl and get her out of here," when, you know, she has some issues. But she is like one of the smaller strawweights too. You know, she's like what, 5'4", 4'11". She's about 5 foot. She's 32 years old, which isn't really old, but you know, she's lost 4 in a row against some of the bigger girls, even some of the average size girls. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, she can always walk away. Yeah, Marcus said, she can at least say she had one win. She can always walk away and say, "I did beat Cheyenne Valismas." You know, with one dimension, she did beat her, but dang, that was like 4 years ago. Her last win was like over 4 years ago. So that might be called for a cut, unfortunately. Like, yeah, I mean, there's really no argument if she does get cut. Yeah, Sergio said her striking has improved. I agree. I agree. Hopefully I hope it's not a little too late. Do you think Ruiz is an atom weight? She looks so small. I think she could be an atom weight. I think between her and this next girl in this next fight, Alencar, could be atom weights. And that's why it is kind of critical that the UFC starts looking at bringing in like some more girls that are atom weights and making that atom weight division. Because yeah, she does look like an atom weight to me. And let's say she does win her next fight. I mean, she'll still struggle with some of these other girls. You know, she'll still struggle with some of these other girls. Alencar, yeah, she is like a shorter, muscular girl, but I think she could make atom weight. I do. I think she could make atom weight. Ardelean, though, you know, she's kind of like a must-see type of fighter. You know, likes to come in there and put on some bangers and some shows like that. I still don't see her reaching top 15 yet. I believe she's 37, 36 years old, something like that. And she's been in a lot. 33, my bad. She's 33 years old. Yeah, Ardelean is 33, but just seems like she's been in the game for so long, man. Like, I think she's been in the game since like 2012. So yeah, she's been fighting a long time. And you know, she's got a lot of wear and tear. I think, you know, she's been in some wars. I think she's 2-2 in the UFC. So if you want to put on another action type of fight for Ardelean, I think her and Karolina Kowalkiewicz should be matched up. Because I know Karolina, they're not gonna cut her, and she says she's not retiring yet. So if she don't want to retire, let's see how she does against Ardelean. Like, if she goes to war with her and loses, then yeah, she needs to think about leaving the UFC. To me, you know, retiring. Then if you lose another type of bloody war to Ardelean, then yeah, I think she would need to go. Ruiz will have success in rising. Yeah, I think rising, you know, anywhere you can fight some of these smaller fighters, you know, wherever there's an atomweight division. Where else is there? You know, even Invicta, of course. Because yeah, I was just watching some clips of the atomweight champion. She was fighting in the KC Combat Organization. What is her name? Vieira. She just won the Invicta FC atomweight belt not too long ago. like she could match up well against some of those girls. So yeah, like any of those places she could be, that would be fine with me. But yeah, this was a good war. This was a good war, man. Just action packed fight. I mean, there's not much to say. Ardelean, where she was like just tagging this girl up. I mean, just hitting her with the same combination. I might watch the fight again just because I want to see some. I want to see some punches landing on somebody's face. Anytime you want to watch fight like that, you can just turn something on like this. Ernest said, "Combo, how many WMMA fighters do you think are throwing fights? How many are throwing fights? Um, I've kind of let me see. Do you mean like throwing it because they're mentally not ready, or do you mean throwing it because maybe they got paid to do it? How do you mean? Because I've seen it in boxing before. I've seen like maybe a good 4 or 5 fighters, maybe of recent, where I thought they threw a fight. Yeah. Throwing it because of betting. Mm, I could say maybe at least like 3 or 4. Sometimes I think that I've thought that in the past. Even in like Muay Thai, because I've talked to some fighters, where they said like, when the judges are bought, even like referees are bought sometimes when you go over to Thailand and Singapore, those countries like that, when they pay a person off, you better do it, or something could happen. I don't know about if they do that now, but I'm sure they reward fighters handsomely here, and then they're like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I'd say maybe like 3 or 4. I never count it out. I never count that possibility out. Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, that's what the game was built on. I mean, in boxing way back. So, yeah. All right. Talita Alencar and Carnelossi. Shout out to Talita Alencar. I mean, she came in here. She opened the card nicely. She kind of she kind of set the mood for, set the mood for the card. Of course, people always feel like the women don't keep it going like that, but she came in here and fought a good fight against Ariane Carnelossi. Got a good finish. Kind of a shaky start at first. It looked a little bit back and forth. I think what won Alencar this fight was, her commitment to her hands. Alencar seemed to have more of a commitment to what she was striking for, and she seemed to have more of a game plan and just a good ground game. I mean, to me, Carnelossi, she was just kind of going through the motions. Like, she would land good shots and she would clinch, but there was really no like game to it. Like, there was really no execution to it. Like, Carnelossi was throwing a lot of good leg kicks. Like, she was chopping away Alencar's leg. She was backing her up with the jab. She was backing her up with these different shots, but I never saw her follow up with anything that was gonna like really hurt Alencar. Even when Alencar kind of looked gassed in the second round, I know y'all saw that. Like, there was a big punch that landed too on Alencar, and Alencar just kind of was gassing a little bit after that wrestling in the first round. But she let Alencar get that second win. Alencar was landing some heavy punches though. I think her shots kind of look heavier, where Carnelossi looked a little bit crisper, like faster. Because the first round, Carnelossi was putting a lot of pressure on, backing her up, but she was letting Alencar come back with a good 1-2. Just landing that 1-2. Then when Carnelossi wanted to clinch with her, I was like, okay, why are you clinching now? That's not a good idea because you're not that good of a grappler. So she clinched up. And Alencar is the one getting the better of it. And she almost submitted her right in the first round. Did she almost submit her in the first round too? Was that the first round? Can't remember right now because when they went down to the ground, remember she almost locked her in, right? Because I know the second round, again, Carnelossi just looked kind of like she wanted to land these shots, but there was no other movement. Like, there was no other commitment or movement trying to set a trap on Alencar to get her out of there. The second round, the second round was when she got saved by the bell. Yeah, because the last round is where Alencar picked it up right where she left off, and she got her back quick. So I don't really understand like Carnelossi's game plan of trying to clinch with a better grappler. She kept clinching up with her and just instead of striking from the outside, I wasn't getting that from her. But I thought overall, Alencar, her punches seemed to be heavier. Carnelossi had good leg kicks, so I mean, she was doing some damage. But hey, I got to give Alencar credit. She's pretty durable for somebody her size. To be said, how do you think Toledo's striking look? I think her striking, I'll give it like a 6. I'll probably give it like a 6 right now. It looked better than in her last fights. Yeah. Marcus said he gives it striking about a 6. Yeah, I'll give it about a 6 for right now. Because, I mean, it worked and it got the job done. And, Carnelossi, Carnelossi got hurt with a shot too. I remember she got hurt with a punch. She kind of got buzzed by one of Alencar's punches. Then she ate a knee to the face too. So her striking was pretty solid. It got the respect in this fight. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty good performance by Alencar. Moving forward for Alencar, I mean, she's got, let's see, a 3-1 record in the UFC. She's beat Rando Santos, Demopoulos, Carnelossi. I'm not sure if I would say she's ready for a ranked fighter yet, but I would probably put her in there with somebody that's got a little bit more experience, like maybe her and Amarim. Amarim's coming off a loss, or somebody like Loma. Loma's coming off a loss. And I think her and Loma might match up well because, her and Loma are both kind of the smaller straw weight. So that might be interesting. Her and Loma, I think that would be a good fight. That'd be a good fight to kind of test how she'll fare against somebody that Loma has powerful kicks and she can wrestle too. Carnelossi though, man, like she's kind of come and go. I don't know where she stands as like a big threat. I mean, her last win was against Pietro Rodriguez, which was a disqualification last year. She lost to Lupi. Her last legit wins were Leon Na and Estela Nunes, which was 2 finishes back in 2021. So she hasn't really had any legit wins since then. Her resume is what? 3-3 in the UFC. 3-3 in the UFC. So I'm not gonna try to say, oh, she needs to be cut too, but she's not really like somebody that's been on my radar as like a big threat to some of these rising girls. So her and Chanel Dyer. Chanel Dyer is coming off a loss in the Contender Series, right? And she just got signed to the UFC. So I think it's only fair Chanel Dyer fights somebody who's just lost the fight, because she earned it by the fight of the night against Carol Foureau, right? So just fight somebody else coming off a loss. So yeah, that would be an ideal fight for me. Carnelossi versus Chanel Dyer. Somebody that's not too big of a threat, but has a lot of experience, just to see where Chanel Dyer really stands. I think that would make sense. Gary said, how many WMMA fights are rigged in the UFC? According to Arrow, 100 UFC fights were flagged by the authorities. I think a lot of them are the men's fights, but yeah, I think that when it comes to like betting odds, I think even some of those women's fights that could really pull in some money whenever the underdogs are so big. I think that, and since there are not that many, I don't think that a lot of them are. I think it's more like the bigger ones, where the bigger upsets could be in. Sergio says she's one of the better BJJ girls. The second round saved her. Oh, maybe her and Vanessa Demopoulos. Who Carnelossi and Demopoulos. Yeah, because Alencar already beat her, so yeah, maybe her and Carnelossi. To be said, I really like that Amarim's matchup now that Jackie lost. Yeah, that would be an interesting one, because I'd like to see how good Alencar's, strength, wrestling, and grappling would fare against, just the pure jiu-jitsu of Amarim. Amarim, I ain't gonna lie, Toledo Alencar's striking looks better than Amarim's. I mean, I got to say it, man. That's what I'm saying. Somebody like Alencar could have a chance. I mean, look at Carla Esparza. She had a chance. She's short, lacking the reach, but she made it. Somehow Carla won the belt twice, right? I mean, never say never. And I think that Alencar's got a little bit more power. So I'm not saying it's going to be like this perfect win streak where she does it, but Alencar could do something like that, right? You just never know. Yeah, I would say that Alencar's striking looks better than Amarim's right now. Yeah, that could be a fight Alencar could win. To be said, she just got to make it to the second round, and she'll probably beat Jackie. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. But those are two good strawweight fights. Those are two good strawweight fights where you could gauge some potential prospect. I am so ready to make a triple threat for strawweight. I think it would have to be Fatima Klein in there, and then possibly an Alencar, and then maybe I would like to put Mizuki in there, man, if she could be consistent. And Thainera, Alexa Thainera just scored, two good wins. So we'll see. We'll see. Can't put Amarim in there, though. Can't put her in there yet, man. She just did not look ready in that last fight. She looked gassed. Really did. All right. Okay. This so-called main event for the WMMA fans, this was supposed to answer some questions. It did answer questions. It did answer some questions. I mean, Ketlin versus Norma Dumont, it did answer some questions for me. It gave me what I needed. I mean, first question, was I disappointed? Yes, I was disappointed big time. I just think that it really wasn't a good showing by either fighter. It really wasn't like a good showing by either fighter to prove that they want to go for that belt. I just didn't see that in neither one of them. Neither one of them was like fighting tooth and nail for it or really trying to make their presence known. I mean, Norman's been out for like almost a year and some change. And if that did something to her performance, I mean, there's no excuses. But, that it wasn't like she was injured or anything, so you would think that she would still been kind of fresh and ready to just go in there and, let it go, let it go, from being out that long. But I guess sometimes that's how it is, man. Sometimes you would think, okay, if a person been out for a year, they would be fully rested and recovered, but some come back rusty. Norma, she kind of came back up in here rusty. She looked like she didn't know what to do in the first round. I mean, am I lying? Like, she didn't look like she was she didn't look like she knew what to do in the first round. Like, she forgot what she did in that Irene Aldana fight, what she did in that GDR fight. She abandoned the jab in the first round. She showed her hand speed like a couple of times, but she was standing in front of her opponent. Like, why would you stand in front of a big grappler like Ketlin? Ketlin, if you give her the takedown, she's going to take it. Like, she like to stand, but if she start getting pieced up, Ketlin going to take you down. And that's all she did. And when Norma was on her back, man, that told a lot of stories right there. I mean, that told a lot of stories. Norma, I won't say she looked completely lost, but she looked neutralized. She was nullified up in there. She didn't know what to do, man. She just couldn't get any activity going. She wasn't ready for that rear naked coming in. I mean, she defended it, of course, but she just could not pop back up. There was no get up on her side. Just no get up on her side. So yeah, I gave Ketlin the first round for sure. The second round, like I said, I got to go back and watch the fight again because I don't know, like, if Ketlin's control time was enough. I really have to look at that. What did y'all think? Sergio said, I thought Ketlin would have more success on the feet. I thought she probably would have had a little bit here and there with her timing, but I thought eventually Norma would have had taken control with the hand speed and made it look easier than she did. But I thought her ground game could have been a lot more effective. But that's the thing. Ketlin, she kind of holds back, man. Like, that's my issue with Ketlin. Like, when Ketlin is in the groove and she's winning a fight, she can lose it too because I keep saying this, she does enough. Like, she doesn't do everything. Like, if your style is kind of, but just say it, boring, and it's not convincing enough, you got to take every round home. And Ketlin wasn't taking every single round home. I mean, she just left too much doubt, right? So I, on one side, can't really say it was like complete robbery here, because in these fights close like this, I ain't calling robbery. But uh, if I look at that second round, which I'm gonna go back and do again, Ketlin, you know, she only got herself to blame. She's gonna only have herself to blame. Like, you better fight to finish, or you better go in there and get a complete 30-27, or you gonna blame yourself. Sergio said I was rooting for Norma, but thought on the feet it would be even. Ketlin did not feel comfortable striking with Norma. No, she really didn't. Like, I didn't really think Ketlin looked at all comfortable against Norma striking. When she got caught with that first right hand, that's why she kept shooting for them takedowns. To be said, if Kayla can safely make the weight and Nunes don't beat her, I feel like she beats everybody except the more polished Bia Mosquito. Interesting. No offense when she gets taken down. No, even Chelsea landed more on Norma than Ketlin. Yeah, like, and that's the difference between, okay, Chelsea Chandler might not have as much experience or be as well-rounded as Ketlin, but that's Ketlin's problem. Like, Ketlin is too timid, man. Like, she's a gentle giant. She's just a gentle giant in there. And, she won't go for the kill. Like, against Misha Tate, against Holly, she just won't go in there and finish anybody. Like, when Amanda gets you hurt, and Amanda's in a groove, man, she'll get you out of there. Or if she's got control of the fight, she'll just beat you up the rest of the fight, the remainder of the rounds. I think Ketlin's just not so keen on dominating her opponent, which is crazy. But yeah, that second round, I guess that was kind of like the tell and tale. Like, on both sides here, some people favor Norma's significant strikes over the ground game. And yeah, man, like, if Ketlin's not doing enough on the ground, strikes, damage and strikes should outweigh ground control. But to me, like, if you go back to Verna and Mackenzie Dern, at least when Mackenzie was being taken down, she was working, and even Verna was throwing a few more shots than Ketlin, so there was a little bit more activity where it could kind of go either way on the ground there. But in this fight, Norma wasn't really doing much, and then Ketlin wasn't really doing a great deal either, so it's like, who really wants it here? Who really wants it? I mean, y'all want to be next in line for this belt, you got to show it. So yeah, I mean, off top, how I saw it, yeah, Marcus said I think Ketlin won, but not in a good way. Yeah, same with Norma. Like, neither one of them, like, whoever would have got announced the winner, it wasn't a good look. And with that being said, Norma, listening to her post-fight interview, didn't really sound like she's ready for that belt herself now. Like, she wants another fight. That's what Norma said. Norma said, hey, been out for a year, and she kind of acknowledged the performance wasn't good. So in a way, she may have felt like maybe I didn't do enough to win. I mean, of course, she's going to accept it. Like, who won't accept it, right? So she can move on to be close to the title shot. But Norma kind of said it herself. She was like, I want to get another fight in now. Now she's calling out Juliana Pena. So now that she's calling out Juliana Pena, what happens? Like, everybody wants a piece of Pena. I mean, they can't get Rocky because Rocky's out because of neck surgery. Yana wants Pena. Norma wants Pena. That's why I asked that question earlier. I said, who deserves it more? Well, if Pena don't answer the call, maybe they'll have to fight. That might be the fight for number one contender. Who knows? Norma and Yana. That could be a possibility, right? Yeah, 2B said Norma did not deserve that black belt they gave her. Like, not off of this performance. Not off of this performance. Not in the fight where you almost got choked out, right? Ain't that kind of weird? to be. So like you get a black belt off of the fight where you almost get choked out in. That doesn't really give you a clear clear claim to say I'm now a BJJ. I mean, maybe she had to do a couple of defenses on the ground and lock it in. I don't know what the checklist criteria is for their gym, but that was not a good claim to a BJJ black belt, though. Not at all. Sergio said even Chelsea landed more. Yeah. He said Norma does have above average defense, though. Yeah, her striking defense is good, but she needs to turn up her offense sometimes, To be said, remember how the Yana versus Ketlin fight went? They didn't favor her control time. No, they didn't. Yeah, I remember that fight. They didn't. Sergio and her power is enough to have girls timid, even though she doesn't get knockouts. Yeah, that's something else I want to talk about too. Like with Norma, I had to kind of go back and look at her resume too, man. I had to go back and say, how did she do against these other girls? Like, she does have some pop in her shots, but that's kind of been something I always complained about Norma too in the past. Like Norma doesn't have any finishes on her win streak either. Norma's very timid too. Like, not as timid as Ketlin, but I mean, Norma has like a mean streak, but it don't really translate into like knockouts either. She'll fight. Let me put it that way. Like, it translates into her being in a fight. Like, she always looks like she's in there. But sometimes, Norma will kind of let a knockout go too. Because I remember, I think she hurt Macy Chason in their fight, and she needed a knockout to win that fight, but she winds up losing to Macy Chason. I think she had Macy Chason about out in the third round, but she let it go. There's been some other fights too where she was kind of going through doing enough to win. And when you got two fighters that just want to do enough to win and they're very, very tentative, you get a performance like this. You just get a performance like this. And neither one of them, to me, proved that they were going for the kill for a title shot. Kayla looked better than... What do y'all think? Did y'all think Kayla looked better against Ketlin, or do you think Norma did? That's another question to ask. Who looked better against Ketlin, Kayla or Norma? Because I think Kayla clearly won 2 rounds, right? Kayla ate a big elbow in like the second round. That was like the most damage she took in that fight, but it was like she didn't lose other 2 rounds. Yeah, okay. Kayla definitely. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Kayla did look better in that fight. I know she beat Holly Holm, At least she finished Holly, but Ketlin didn't finish Holly. But she's been fighting with the style that proves that she's trying to gun for the belt. And then she beats Juliana Pena in dominant fashion. No need to go in there and sit back and try to admire your work. Kayla's just admiring her work after she finishes you, And that's what a lot of these other girls need to learn from. Sometimes they give them black belts when no grappling occurs in the fight, which is crazy. I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. Plus, only her second fight in UFC, killing herself for 135. Sergio said Ketlin lost to Holly. Poor Holly was robbed. I have to go back and look at that fight. See, that's another one. See, if you feel like Ketlin won that fight, if you feel like Ketlin lost that fight, to me, that's just proof again that Ketlin is not going in there with the aggression, and she's not willing to use her size and go in there and take over in a fight. She just don't have that authority when she get in there. She just lets these opportunities go. So yeah, I don't know. And when girls fight like this, whether it be Norma or Ketlin, who really wants to see that person win the belt? Nobody wants to see that. Like, if Ketlin puts on this type of performance again, or if Norma puts on this type of performance again, like, nobody's going to want to see them fight for the belt. And nobody's going to, if they win the belt, nobody's going to want to see that. So there still has to be some type of ground where they stand in there and go in there and go for the kill. Ketlin Vieira, she got to learn that, man. She's been in the UFC longer. That's the frustrating part, man. Like, You can't be this big and not control these fights, or can't be this big and just look to control. You got to be in there like Kayla's showing you how it's done. Kayla's in there showing these girls how it's done. I don't get it. What's going on, Brian? Yeah. That's the question. Who looked better against Caitlin Vieira, Norma or Kayla? And now that I see that, man, like I thought, Norma would have some skill sets and some technique in there that could maybe look to be dangerous against Kayla Harrison, but I don't know, man. Like Kayla could go in there and bolt on through. She could go in there and bolt on through on Norma. So, Norma's gonna have to go back to the drawing board, all right. Do you think Kayla can go 5 rounds at 135? I think so. I think she could. I do think she could go. I think she could go 5 rounds. Of course, I think it kind of depends on the opponent too. Like I think she could go 5 with a grappler, fellow grappler, or wrestler. But if you're dealing with some type of well-rounded fighter like Amanda, I don't know. Somebody that's striking is really clean and takedown defense is really good. But just putting it out there, I think she could go 5. Yeah, Kayla would definitely beat Norma if that version of Norma shows up. Yeah, because every single round was just too, not that wasn't no impressive performance for Norma. So I can see why she won another fight. She knows deep down that wasn't a good performance. So yeah, she needs another fight off of that. But with Ketlin standing in the way again, man, it's just not looking good. Ketlin gets it. And that's the thing about fighters that's so inconsistent, man. Like whether it be an Angela Hill or a Ketlin Vieira, every now and then they'll stop a promising fighter, but then they lose the next fight. And then they'll win again. Then you'd be like, oh, okay, they're back. Then they lose the next fight. And you'd be like, man, you got to get out of the way. Like just like when Angela Hill was beating fighters, and I'm like, okay, she might be on the road to getting the rematch with Yan Xiaonan or Amanda Lemos. Then she loses to Tabitha Ricci. Like, come on. So same thing with Ketlin. Ketlin go in here, come back, look good in the performance, and then boom. And maybe the judges saw it that way. They was like, all right, we can't. The judges must have said we can't deal with inconsistency this time. They're like, nah, like Ketlin gonna mess things up. So we ain't giving her the W. I don't know. I mean, it was wrong, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes that's another thing too. Like if you're not in there, your style ain't in there showing up, you ain't putting on a show, judges, they might take it from you. Yeah. So yeah, moving forward, let me see. Norma should be number 3 by tomorrow. She's number 4 now. She'll be number 3 by tomorrow. And she's looking to fight again. But yeah, that's the thing about the upper half of the bantamweight division. It doesn't look as exciting as the lower half. We got some new girls signed. You got Luana Santos, who's fighting Melissa Crow next month. She's Luana Santos is actually number 15, so that's a fight that could get Crow ranked. A lot of the unranked girls are kind of bringing in a exciting element. But at the top, if you got a girls like Pena who don't really want to fight, the lower half, then you got girls like Rocky who are out because of an injury. Then you got Ketlin who's inconsistent. That's the part that kind of makes the division a little bit more weaker to people and dry. But then you got girls, like Yana Santos, who's coming back, Norma, who's still on the street, Eileen Perez, who's number 8. Eileen Perez might be fighting Macy Chase on next. Who knows? Then you got Cavalcanti and Myra Buena Silva fight. Myra Buena is number 10, but Cavalcanti's fighting this weekend, 10-11. So that should be a good fight. So yeah, you got some good girls at the bottom who we need to start winning to make this division better again, Brian said I was able to watch the fight later, and as much as I love Norma, I was rooting for her. If I had to judge it, I'd probably call it for Ketlin. Having said that, I can also see how two gave it to Norma. Yeah, like I'm gonna watch it again, but even when I think to that second round, there were some moments in there that I think that significant strikes probably could have favored the ground control of the second round. Like clearly, Ketlin won the first round, right? And then Norma clearly won the third round. Norma won it with her aggression, which she should have showed in the first round. But that second round was kind of a seesaw round where if you like the striking of Norma, you might have said, oh, okay, she's winning the round, but then Ketlin takes her down. And then you like, okay, Ketlin's not doing much. Norma won that round. Or you might have said, oh, Norma got taken down. She threw it all away and give it to Ketlin, right? So I hate when fighters do that, man. Somebody need to go in there and take control and make it hard on us, you know? But I'll tell you this, Brian, both performances don't look like they want to fight for that belt. Neither one of them want that belt around their waist with that performance. I mean, normally they can hear this and get mad. Well, you got to prove me wrong then. That's what I saw. I saw average fight. At least Mackenzie Dern fought for that belt. Mackenzie Dern, she fought for that belt. She said, Whaley, drop that belt. I'm going to come in here and put on a fight. But I didn't like this performance from either fighter. Not at all. That was a question too, Brian. Who do you think looked better against Ketlin Vieira? Kayla or Norma? Who do you think looked better, Kayla or Norma against Ketlin? Yeah, neither would beat Kayla fighting the way they did. Way too tentative. Yeah, I just didn't like that performance. I just didn't. All right. So we're 2 weeks away, right? Well, less than 2 weeks away. Not this weekend, but next. We're getting there, y'all. Valentina Shevchenko and Zhang Wei have to give some updates on this one. Yeah, Kayla did. She beat her. Exactly. I know some people think that Ketlin getting some big shots on Kayla in like one round was enough to look good, but I'm like, nah, Kayla still won that fight. Kayla still won it. But yeah, here we are, man. November 15th. It's right around the corner. Valentina Shevchenko and Zhang Wei is going down. I just been, checking them out on IG. And, Valentina looks ready, man. Valentina's in there working her sparring. She's looking good. The strikes are looking good. She's been mixing it up in the gym. Zhang Wei I haven't really seen like a great deal of posts, but from what she's shown, I see that she's really been working on her strength and conditioning too. And, not having to make a rough weight cut this time around. I don't say with rough weight cut because she's never really struggled to make 115. I say a comfortable weight cut. I think that, Zhang Wei is feeling a lot more confident and without having to cut down so much more weight. I think, she's focused on technique and, she's focused more on, the technical side than having to worry about diet and everything. So that could be a definite danger for Valentina going into this fight. Valentina, we all know she's got the IQ. She's a lot more experience as a champion. And, she's been here time and time again. So there's a lot of givens on her side. But, whenever Zhang Wei comes in, anything can happen, because we can't count Zhang Wei out as a fighter that is stuck in one gear herself. Zhang Wei been acquiring tools over the years. She's been getting way better, a lot smarter in her choices. And she kind of has that like underrated intelligence. Sometimes I think a lot of people just see her smiling all the time and think, she's just a fighter that, doing the same thing. You know what I mean? Like it seems like some people kind of get caught up in just seeing her do one thing. But I see Zhang Weili changing. I see her changing and evolving as a fighter, and her evolution, it could be a big threat to Valentina here. Because number one, you got the you got the possible strength and power on her side in this fight, and with a lack of the weight having to be cut, she could come in a little bit faster and a little bit stronger in this fight. So I'm sure that there's going to be a situation in this one where Zhang Weili's going to have to dig deep, and she's going to have to go in there and adapt to what Valentina's doing. I'm sure she's watching how Grasso did it and all these other fighters didn't do it, but that's the question. That's the question. That's why we just got to see this fight now. We just got to see it. I see Zhang Weili maybe being able to take a hit better at this weight too, because that's another thing we got to look at. Like, when Valentina, she hits a lot of girls, they have this tendency to go on the back foot and not want to enter, because she hits you with just enough power to make you think about it. Sometimes getting hit with a big shot like Rose did is so quick you didn't even know it came. You see, Zhang Weili was trying to still get up and fight, or you know what I mean? Like, she still tried to get up and fight because she didn't know what happened. But if Valentina hits you with just enough, kind of like she was doing against Manon Fiore, with her jab and right hook, it's kind of discouraging. Like, Valentina has that discouraging type of power, So, number one, Zhang Weili's got to find a way to get around that and not be on the outside just eating these blunt shots to the face all night. She's got to be in there looking for that opening, and maybe even, like I said, take Valentina off balance as far as like pushing her back like Grasso did and setting little traps, forcing Valentina to fight. You got to force Valentina to fight sometimes. Valentina, she come in there to teach. Valentina, that's what you got to say about Valentina's style. Like, Valentina, she comes in there to teach and educate your butt. You come in there talking mess, you think you're better than her. She'll be, all right, I'm gonna show you why you're not better. And then she hits you with one shot, take you down, lay on you, beat you up with the jab, some simple shots. Valentina's in there and instructs your butt. Hopefully it makes you better in the next fight. Whether it was Manon Fiore, right? I'm being honest, took Manon, to striking school with the jab and the right hook. Manon had to go back and work at TriStar, start working on boxing. That's why I said you have to do that. It's just a fact. Go back to the third Grasso fight. She went back to wrestling. She said, "This is how you wrestle, Grasso." So just so many different elements as part of Valentina's game where she's set as a very solid technician, but Zhang Weili can't come in there like that. She got to come in there with that ability to adapt like she always does and fight. Don't show the game plan, but just kind of like blend in with Valentina. Like, it's kind of weird how Zhang Weili, she knows how to adapt. That's the difference between like Zhang Weili's adapting, her overall adapting versus like, some fighters you can actually see them switch gears. You don't really see Zhang Weili switch gears. It just kind of comes into motion just naturally, But we'll see how that works out, man. I'm just saying, like, yeah, Brian, I'm not having to cut 10 pounds is going to be, I think it's going to be it could be in favor of Zhang Weili in this fight. Might carry the power, strength, cardio might be better, all of that. Sergio said Valentina isn't a big 125, so I don't think that matters. Oh, Brian said, man, I just don't see Zhang Weili beating her with her style. Weili has a tendency to get frustrated during a fight. Nobody going to frustrate a puncher like a fight that you can't hit. Yeah. If you can't hit somebody, yeah, that's going to be a problem. Sergio says Zhang isn't big enough in my opinion, but she doesn't have to be against Valentina. I'm not sure if size really comes into play in this fight, because I think strength, of course, does. I think when we see these two face off, we're going to see more of a similar size. I think it more comes down to just who is at this weight and who handles this weight better. Who knows how to handle the physical size better in this type of fight. Um, I think it's we look at the other type of opponents and the style of Zhang Weili. I think other girls could be a problem for. That's why I'm still not sure if Zhang Weili wants to stay at 150, 125. I'm really anticipating to see, like, I really have to say I'm really looking forward to seeing how she looks at the weigh-in too, and when they face off. Sergio said, who do you think will wrestle more, Valentina or Zhang Weili? I think Zhang Weili might attempt to wrestle more in this fight. I think Valentina will counter wrestle, of course, if Zhang Weili tries to wrestle more here, because I think the minute Valentina's striking comes into play and that jab starts coming out, as soon as that jab start hitting the face, I'm telling you, Zhang Weili would probably turn into the wrestler here. And then that's when counter wrestling comes from Valentina's side. Because that's what I was saying about Manon going in their fight. Like, she needed to be more of a wrestler in that fight, period. Don't let the striking of Valentina discourage you and turn you into a wrestler. Like, come up with your own game plan and use your size and strength against her. And that's the thing about Weili going into this fight. She lacks that size and strength of Manon. Like, it would be wiser for, Zhang Weili to have more of a speed and power style that could disrupt Valentina's rhythm. Take some elements from Grasso, but I don't really think you can. I don't think Zhang Weili is like big enough to just lock up with Valentina round after round. I think Manon was, but I don't think Zhang Weili has that natural strength that could do that for 5 rounds. Because eventually Valentina, she gonna wear on you too. Valentina's gonna wear on you. I think Zhang Weili might be wrestling more because Valentina, makes her wrestle with the experience and striking overall. What's going on, Robot Chicken? What's up? He says, salute the combo and addict, the most objective and entertaining WMA outlets. Hit the like. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, I mean, we here, man. We are here, and we just talking about this fight. I'm gonna just try to give the real facts that I see between Valentina and Zhang Weili. I like both fighters. I like both fighters a lot, and I think this is gonna be a good fight. And yeah, if you want an honest opinion, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you. Whether I'm telling you what I think is gonna happen on the Bullet side or Magnum side. Like, honestly, I think Zhang Weili, her right hand, if it touches Valentina's chin, could change the course of the fight. I mean, I've seen girls in the past hit Valentina, not much power on it. Jennifer Maia had a little sting. Who else is there? Of course, Grasso, she had some sting on her punches because she's a natural boxer. We saw the reaction there. But I think that, Zhang Weili has enough natural power that if she could connect on Valentina's chin, she could turn the fight around easy. I think when it comes to big power punches landed in here, that's going to have to be her game plan at some point to get Valentina's respect. But, there's got to be a game plan on getting on the inside. There's got to be a game plan on getting on the inside. I know if Zhang Weili, one thing I was thinking too is, like, if she gets Valentina to throw more body kicks, she can maybe catch a couple of them body kicks and get Valentina off balance to maybe take her down and try to snake for the back early, and that's another thing too, man. Like, there's one scenario that I think would favor Zhang Weili is getting Valentina down to one knee against the cage where she can start landing ground and pound, punches, because over the years, like, you see Zhang Weili's ground and pound, you see it evolve, and them shots look like they hurt. Those shots look like they hurt. That's what I'm saying. Like, Zhang Weili's, her side's got to be fight. It's got to be educated fight, but fight. you know, don't try to play chess too much with Valentina. I say that about every fighter though, man. Like when they fight Valentina, don't play chess with Valentina, man. Like do not play chess with her. You know, Manon's a good striker, but you know, you in there with the proven striker. You don't play their game. Tiago said, I think Valentina's about to be at her best. She could, yeah. Yeah. I could see that too. I could see that too. I think Valentina's come too far to just not be on her game, especially number one, she knows what's riding on this fight. You know, she knows that Zhang Wei Li wants to make a name off of her. She knows that the UFC possibly wants her out of there at some point. Like Valentina don't get a lot of love like that, you know. You know, she knows that this could be one of those fights that could make her stock go down. She knows a lot of people are calling her old now, which I don't. I still think Valentina's I think she's aging gracefully when it comes to fighting. Of course, as the body gets older, you change styles, but you know, Valentina's never really showed me that she's like this fighter that's just worn out. You know, she fights smarter as you get older, and you know, she always has like an answer just about. Of course, there's mistakes, you know, times change, you know, nobody's saying you won't lose. This is MMA, right? This ain't boxing. You know, this is MMA. In MMA, you're gonna have to fight everybody. There's no ducking in this sport, and there's way too many weapons, you know, at your disposal to go undefeated. So that's how I see it, man. You know, Valentina's gonna be at her best. I expect Wei Li to be at her best. I expect her to be at her best. Robot said, "Who do you got, Islam or JDM?" I'm kind of going for JDM, but I'm gonna kind of go for JDM in this one. But I think Islam really, I really think he might pull this one off. Brian said, "I think Whaley's fast enough to hit Valentina, but not a bunch. Arms too short, and Valentina's reflexes are too sharp. As long as Valentina doesn't get dragged in a war in the pocket, right? Yeah, I think outside is Valentina all the way. Mid range could get interesting. You know, mid range could get interesting because if Wei Li does load up a couple of times, you know, let it be one shot that lands. To be said, a significant part of me feels like Wei Li is going to do way better than anticipated and ruin Silva's title shot. Maybe she won't, man. Maybe she won't. I mean, look, if Wei Li wins, Silva should still get her title shot, right? But it kind of lacks the flair that the Bullet versus Silva could happen, right? I mean, that matchup, right? Now that matchup would, I guess Whaley Silva has a little ting to it too, because Whaley's in a new division, and we're going to see if she can defend. Robot said Whaley catches Val with a supreme shot if she doesn't take Whaley seriously. Tiago said, and they are basically the same age. Yeah, they really are. Yeah, Val's 37, Whaley's 36. So yeah. Tiago said, do Manon and Natalia need to fight? Good question. Let me see. Natalia Silva wants to wait for the title shot. She really wants to wait for that title shot. Manon just defeated Jasmine. Before anybody gets a rematch, to me, you got to at least win 2 or 3 fights in good fashion against credible opponents. So before Manon could even challenge for a belt, I would say she need to get a win against another credible opponent. Because Jasmine, that was a good win to wake us up and say, okay, yeah, like Jasmine's not in her realm, but you got to go in there and beat some girls again that will make you better and just get them out of the way to prove that you're ready for the belt again. So as I tally up the points, Tiago, I hate to say need to fight like it's something that we're really missing, but they could fight. The longer it goes out, I think they could fight, because this fight happens in November, right? The title fight's in November. Natalia. Let me see. Let me see. Let me do some. Let me look at the. I mean, I wouldn't turn the fight down. I really wouldn't turn the fight down. I'm trying to look at what Natalia Silva's inactivity is right now, because yeah, she might need that fight now. Because Aaron is fighting Tracy Cortez. Her last fight was in May, so it's been about 5 months now. Manon just fought in October. I don't know, man. Natalia might need to fight sooner, because that'll be about 10 months since she been off. Because Manon might wait 3 or 5 months, and that'll be another 10 months for Natalia Silva. So I really won't say it needs to be a fight that needs to happen, Tiago, but it could happen. Like, I would watch it. I would watch it. I think, yeah, I think that, Natalia definitely needs another fight, the longer she waits here. I think this is a fight that, she could do, to stay busy. But I really don't think it would need to happen more from Manon's side, I think, because, she's coming back after, the loss to the champion. I think for Natalia, she doesn't really need that fight. Right, right. To be said, she made it clear. Like, yeah, she's made it clear that she's not fighting unless it's for the belt. But I think she's already kind of made it clear that she is the next contender too. So if Manon wanted that fight, I would say it would do her more. It would be doing her more justice, because she would be getting that contender out of the way and proving she's better and she's ready. But Natalia, to me, doesn't really need anybody else right now. Tiago said Natalia's win against Grasso was not very impressive. That was a good fight. That was a good fight, though. I liked it. I thought it was impressive on Natalia's side, as far as her just, beating the former champion up. Grasso, Grasso is just, to me, Grasso just looked drained too in that fight, like mentally drained. Like, I'm not sure if Grasso really is ready to fight like a title contender, title eliminator, anything like that for a while. I think she needs to kind of fight down herself, though. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, this Whaley fight, Valentina fight, I think this is going to be good, man. I will be live for it. I'll definitely be live for it. What's been going on the Dakota side, though, man? We have to talk about some Dakota again over here, because I really would like to see Dakota, clean up wherever she need to do. I didn't even talk about Viviane Arujo and Ariane Lipsky. I forgot they're over at PFL now. Did y'all know that? Tiago, did you know about that, man? Viviane Arujo and Ariane Lipsky are PFL now. Tiago said, "Who you got winning early pick? Oh, for this championship fight, I'm gonna lean towards the Bullet. I'm gonna lean towards the Bullet right now. The only time I picked against the Bullet was against Manon. Oh man, I ain't picked against Valentina that time, yeah, but I ain't picked against Valentina since at bantamweight, really. And that was I think some of those are more fan picks to me. Back then, like, I didn't even have the channel up back then, but it was just like fan picks, But I got to look into it. I'm like, I think Valentina's chances are, just too solid against these other girls. But yeah, as time goes on, it's hard to pick against Valentina here. I really do think it's hard to pick against Valentina in this fight. I'm not saying Whaley can't win, but just an early pick right now, I would have to say is Valentina. Brian said, "Yeah, I heard Lipsky left. I thought Vivi made sense, but I thought Lipsky had some more sense to give in UFC." Yeah, Lipsky's over there now too. They got rid of Lipsky quick though, man. I thought that was kind of funky why they did that. Man, that was crazy. Yeah, man. Yeah, this fight is next week. Let me see. This weekend we got two fights this weekend. I think one's a strawweight fight, but we got the bantamweight fight too. Hold on. Did I put the do I got a picture of that fight? Hold on. Let me see. Angela's also fighting on the same card. Oh yeah, Angela on the same card. Fatima Klein. Fatima Klein might be retiring her. Nah, just playing. That is gonna be crazy. That's a crazy opener too. Aaron Blanchfield, Tracy Cortez. That's right. Oh yeah. This weekend we got Tisha Torres and Denise Gomes. Okay, we got that fight, and then we got Myra Buena Silva and Jacqueline Cavalcanti. I'm going with Cavalcanti. I got Cavalcanti all the way for this weekend coming up. Okay, but yeah, that weekend for 322. I'll be on live for that because yeah, we got 3 women's fights: Angela Hill and Fatima Klein. Early pick is Klein on that one. Then Aaron and Tracy Cortez. I'm gonna have to lock it in for Aaron. Then we got the co-main event, which is the Bullet versus Magnum. Early pick the Bullet for me. Who else? Yeah, we got 5 fights coming up, and hopefully they all deliver. Yeah, Myra Buena Silva, I think, is done. Like, she hasn't made a home yet. She hasn't made a home yet at flyweight or bantamweight anymore. She's been moving around a lot. Fatima for the finish. Okay, Lipsky missed by a lot, though it wasn't short notice. Yeah. Her and Wayne Kong, right? Yeah, she lost that Wayne Kong fight over the summer. And she actually did all right in that fight. I don't think she really deserved to be cut. Oh, snap. Tiago said Valentina Carr is main event 3 a.m. for him. Oh man. It'll be 10 p.m. for me, which means it ain't gonna be on until like 1 a.m. actually. The main card starts at 10 p.m., but I probably won't actually see it until like midnight or 1, depending on how everybody else does. Oh, snap. Darius and Saint Denis fight. I'm going for Darius in that fight. Then you got Edwards and Carlos Prates. Sorry. I'm going to go with Leon Edwards. Then you got Sean Brady, Michael Morales. Oh, that's going to be a good one. Morales. Then the JDM fight. I think I'm going to go with JDM in that. I'm rooting for JDM, but I think Islam might win that fight, though. I'm just looking at the card right now. Bo Nichols, he got moved down to prelims. Hey, I mean, that's all right. Oh yeah, Kopolov is on here against Rodriguez. Got to go with my man Roman, man. Got to go with Roman Kopolov, man. Got to go with Kopolov. He needs some stuff he got to work too, though, man. He got to work on his game. Like his last couple fights, like he was taking some big punches. Like he need to move his head. He looking a little stiffer, man. And he got to work on his takedown defense. I'm a fan. I'm just saying. Ooh, I wonder if Tracy Cortez can do anything different in this Aaron Blanchfield fight. I'm gonna do y'all want me to do a round by round of the Aaron and Tracy fight, the first one? I think I will. Either I do it Wednesday or Thursday, or I might do it next week. Yeah, I'm gonna do a round by round of that fight. It's on YouTube, so let me see. Tracy Cortez and Aaron. Tiago said yes. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go back and look at that fight because I just want to match up and see who won it again because it was close, and I want to see like who's improved the most. Okay, Brian said yes too. Okay, I'll do that. If I do a round by round for a Wei Lee fight, which fight would you want it to be? To be said, I don't know. I feel like this might be Tracy Cortez breakout performance. You think so? I mean, I remember, look, style-wise, I remember how that first fight went. Oh, man. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be easy on either half here. But I think Aaron's had more improvements along the way. We'll see. We'll see. Think it'd be Cortez's breakout performance. We'll see, man. We'll see. Definitely ain't gonna miss that fight. Definitely ain't gonna miss that one. Oh yeah. Before I go, hold on. Before I go, I know y'all know about this fight, right? This was the original fight, anyways, y'all. This was the original fight that Jillian Robertson called for. Like after Jillian Robertson scored her last win, she was like, I want to fight Amanda Lemos. I don't know why they didn't schedule it the first time anyway. They tried to make the Yasmin Lucindo fight, which wasn't a bad fight anyways. I was picking Yasmin Lucindo in that fight, though. I'm sorry. But Yasmin Lucindo had to pull out, I think maybe an injury or something like that. So now we got this rescheduled with Amanda Lemos. And to me, this is a good matchup. You know, this is what Jillian needs to get into that top 5. And she needs another victory against a seasoned veteran like Amanda Lemos. You know, Amanda Lemos actually beat. Did she beat Lucindo? Yeah, she actually beat Lucindo. So to me, this is a bigger step up. You know, she got an experienced opponent, one that beat her last opponent, and one that's going to push her. She's fighting the top. She's fighting the number 5. She's Jillian Robinson number 10. She's fighting number 5, and you know this is the test she needs now. Jillian Robinson's a full-time strawweight now. You know, she got like 5-6 fights in a row now. Her only loss was to Ricci. And you know, she beat a lot of girls. You know, she beat a number of girls here. So it's time to see where you stand now. I think that's enough of a test to fight a former title contender, a top 5, to see if you're ready for that now. Are you ready for the real action? Amanda Lemos, man, like she's been so like up and down too. Like I hate keep saying inconsistent here with a lot of these girls, but you know, it's like I'll just say she's kind of regressing. Like I don't really see the danger in Lemos's power anymore because she's not really setting it up. And I say this all the time now, like you can have power, but you can't not everybody's a knockout artist. You can have power, but that doesn't mean you're a knockout artist. You know, Macy Barber got a lot of power, but she ain't like no particular knockout artist to me. Same thing with Amanda Lemos. You know, as soon as Amanda Lemos started getting there, the bigger dogs, wasn't really no knockout artist. Didn't even knock out Angela Hill. You know, so if you ain't really setting it up like that, there's no danger. And if Jillian Robertson, you know, is able to get on the inside, she can make it more of a fair fight, even fight, getting it to the ground. But I don't know how strong Jillian is yet. Like Jillian is proven to be stronger against these other girls. Like, yeah, she finished Marina. Marina's not really like strong on the ground, but when you go in there with somebody like Amanda, who is a strong wrestler and decent grappler on a lower level, I think the fight could come out to be a little bit more even. You know, it could come out to be a little bit more even here where Jillian's going to have to really dig deep in this one. On the feet too, man, like the power could be an issue here because if Jillian's not improved in her range and her footwork here and she comes forward, she could eat some of them big punches. You know, Lemos' problem is she's not backing it up with the jab. You know, she doesn't set her thing up like with rhythm. Like she just be swinging. You know, she just be swinging big shots, man. Like 1, 2, you see them things coming. That's why Weili dropped her with the right hand. And I kept thinking Lemos might drop Weili, But here, Wei Lee drops Lemos on her butt with the overhand right. I remember that. It was like the fourth or fifth round. She put Lemos down, so that took away again. The power wasn't always scary. So Jillian, to me, I think Jillian's going to be a fighter that actually uses her jab a little bit more here. She's kind of being a little bit more confident in her strikes, even some of her up kicks, some are not up kicks, but her like high kicks. She's a little bit more in tune with her range and her length. So the longer the fight goes, Jillian could win if she can neutralize power here. But if Jillian gets crazy and comes forward, Lemos could land a big shot, but she's going to have to set it up. Lemos got powerful leg kicks. Look at that Suarez fight. Lemos got powerful leg kicks. So Lemos got to be smart. But the thing is, Lemos has not changed a thing. I think Jillian's changed more than Lemos has, honestly. But is it enough to beat a former title challenger? I don't know. We'll see. Lemos just be disappointing me, man. Like them big old legs, and you don't chop girls down. Got some good boxing, but you don't jab. Got a powerful right hand, but you don't set it up. Just a lot of things here, man. Like I don't know. I don't know, man. Like when she doesn't do these things, you know how mad I get, especially when you're just watching it like as almost like a cornerman or something. You just analyzing these fighters. You're like, why is this person not doing this? So it's kind of Lemos' fight to lose in a way. It really is, but Lemos has got to come in here and show she's the experienced fighter. I actually think Lucindo might have had better chance because she's younger and a little bit more hungry. She's got youth on her side against Robertson. But Lemos, I could see her having trouble in this one big time. If she gets submitted too, boy, I'm going to be very angry. But if Jillian wins, I think that's better for the division. I will say that. Much, much, much needed for the division. If Jillian wins this fight, Jillian might be fighting Dern next. So Jillian's going to be ready, I think. Yeah. Brian said Lemos doesn't set up her shots as well. No, she don't. Yeah, she did everything but knock out Angelil. She did. Robot said Lemos will eat G-Rob's punches like Cheerios and punish her. Yeah, Jillian's striking is not really like ready for prime time, but it could get her some takedowns here. To be said, if Verna can get it in on Lemos for takedowns, I feel like Jillian can. Lemos' takedown defense looked great against Tatiana Suarez. Oh, man. Yeah, I forgot about Marcus said Tracy did take away Vivi's striking and grappling. Yeah, she did. She did. Ooh, that's a good point. If Tracy takes away Aaron's striking and her grappling, with her own wrestling, ooh, man. 2B said Tracy's best wins are Aaron a few years ago, are Rujo, Jazzy, and Gatto. Those are good wins. And, again, style-wise, Aaron's style is more up her alley. Like, I don't think, honestly, I think that somebody like Manon could beat Tracy easy. Natalia could beat her easy, even Grasso. But I think when these girls are a little bit more physical and they can get into close quarters, Tracy Cortez, she's all about that action. Like Tracy, she can deal with hard, gritty girls like herself. She can deal with girls that with not a lot of striking savvy. I do give her some leeway for the Rose fight because, that was like a last minute thing. She did switch cards and took Rose on last minute. That was a big style change up from who she was supposed to fight. So I give Tracy her some leeway on that. Now I ain't gonna be too hard on her that. I know we was all looking at the eyelash, but I'm gonna leave the eyelash alone. I'm gonna be honest and just say I'm gonna leave the eyelash alone, man. Ain't got nothing to do with the eyelash, man. She was fighting on short notice. So yeah, I think particular styles, Tracy does well in. fellow grapplers and wrestlers, but when it comes to like clean stand-up fighters, I don't think she'll beat like Silva and Fior and those girls. But Aaron, it could be a fight for her to win. I'm definitely calling it that night though. But yeah, I'll do the round by round. I do the round by round sometime, like I said, either this week or next week. Tiago said it's the version of her who fought Rose. If the version of her who fought Rose shows up, it's over. I don't think we'll see that version. I don't think we'll see that version. Hopefully, I think that it. As long as she don't have the eyelashes on, you know, that's the first key to victory. That's my key to victory for Tracy Cortez. Number one, take the eyelashes off before we go into a jab or takedown defense. Take the eyelashes off first. That's first key to victory against Aaron. Tracy has better boxing than Aaron. Yeah, I think Tracy's like regular boxing's naturally okay. Aaron, I think Aaron has better kickboxing though. I think Aaron has a better IQ at mixing it up, like high kicks and jab and overhand right. I would say Aaron better kickboxer, Tracy better boxer. Marcus said, come to think about it, Tracy only lost once against Rose for the short prep. Yeah. Yaquez, what's up? He said, talk about Acosta, please. I will. I'll do that video because I want to see where she stands. I'm gonna do a individual video on that. And I remember your other request too about Pacheco and I don't think I'll talk about Pacheco, but I'm not going to mention really Rocky because Rocky's out because of neck surgery. But we're going to talk about where Larissa Pacheco goes. Like, will she be at 135? So, yeah, I'm going to try to get them done tomorrow. To be said, she would definitely have the eyelashes on. She even brought it up in a podcast she was on. Man, she need to take them things off. Tracy versus Natalia would get ugly if she can't wrestle. I think Natalia's got really good clinch control. I think she really knows how to put her weight on people's backs, and she knows how to use the cage too. So, that would be interesting. To see like if Tracy can adapt to that. What about y'all's early pick for this fight? Lemos or Robertson? I see Robot already said he thinks Lemos will win by knockout, but what y'all got, man? Like, who do y'all got winning this fight? First off, like, I know this one's like a month away, but still. WMMA has been cleaning up this year, though, man. I got to really go back and take a caption of all of the knockouts and some of the finishes. I don't know. I got to see, like, I really forgot. I won't say I really forgot, but I know there's some fights I missed, if I'm just kind of running back through my head, like some of the best fights. 2B said Jillian Robertson. Mark said I got Lemos with 1 or 2 question marks. Okay. I think Jillian winning would be better for the division, so I am rooting for her here at this point because I think we need some new girls in the top 5. Like, I'm all about some, good change for the division. Let's get Lucindo Robertson and Klein and Denise Gomes and Thainera up in there. With Denise Gomes, man, she got to step her game up too. Denise Gomes is fighting old girl Tisha Torres this weekend. I'm always been a Tisha fan. I've always been a fan of Tisha since I first started watching her back in Invicta. But she's got to be careful against this girl who can hit too, Denise Gomes. Tisha's tough though. Tisha is tough. Sergio said Lemos. Okay. like I always see like Lamos working on some boxing and even like her wrestling and everything, but sometimes it's not translating into the cage, especially the boxing, the hands, they're just not as sharp as they should be, you know? Oh yeah. So I know 2B said to start doing this, or he asked me if I could do this. Yeah, so I'll say for this show, of course, this show's fight of the week. I'll give that to Alice Ardelean and Montserrat Ruiz for good reason. Like I said earlier, I mean, this was just blood in action, bloody war for Ardelean. Ardelean, she put the work in. Ruiz looked good enough and improved enough to draw some blood. Overall, Ardelean was just in control. Good shots landed. Good right hook, good right hand, left hook combination, constantly landing, just beating this girl up in hamburger. I mean, both of them were really like landing some stiff, solid shots, in my opinion, but overall, just that volume for Ardelean. As long as these girls like just keep putting on shows, I think Dana will keep them around. Ardelean, as long as she just keeps fighting to this level and beats these level of girls, like I'm not really expecting her to be a top 15, but she's entertaining. Girls are entertaining. She's got the fighter face too. I mean, she's got that fighter war face. So, when she gets in there, she's gonna put it down. So, and I like a fighter that throws a jab. She's on the lower level, but hey, she's throwing that jab, so it's pleasing me. All right. And I know T Beast want to know who I'd say my fighter of the show would be. Fighter of the show gonna be Talita Alencar. Gotta be Talita Alencar. I mean, girl came in here, a little undersized for the division, but showed some good striking prowess. Strong. Definitely looks stronger in every fight she's been coming into. I know she lost, what's her name? Stephanie Luciano, but Demopoulos, she was looking better. Hard right hand. Good execution with her strikes to get the fight to the ground. And then she opens the card nicely with a rear naked choke on Carnelossi. Shows she was a stronger fighter. Beat this girl up on the ground, out grappled her, snaked that arm around, and got it done. So, yeah, she's definitely got to be the performer of the night. Unfortunately, it couldn't go to Norma or Ketlin, whoever you thought won. Whoever got that decision, nope, they wouldn't have got no performer of the or fight of the night from me. I know there's a lot of thirsty guys out there looking at Norma like that, but nah, that performance was terrible. Y'all were thirsty. I left dehydrated. I said, I was dehydrated. I ain't thirsty like y'all, man. I was dry. My mouth was dry. Brian said, I love Ardelean's footwork. Yeah, I did too. That third round, she was kind of playing the matador with her. Ruiz tried to run in a couple of times, and she did a couple of good pivots on her and just had that girl kind of, frustrated. So, yeah, her footwork was decent. That later round, like, she stopped taking a lot of punches like she was doing in the first, second round. But, yeah, in the third round, yeah, her footwork got a lot better. But, yeah, man, good show, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to wrap this one up. But as we get closer to fight week, I'll be in and out on the channel for sure because there's some questions like, what's his name? Yaquez had asked. He wanted me to talk about some WMMA fighters, and that's what I do over here. You got a question about a WMMA fighter, we'll talk about it. Ryan said, I want to see Norma fight like she fought Irina. That was masterclass. Yeah, I hope that wasn't the last we seen of that type of fight. I hope Norma bring that back, man. Because after seeing that performance, I'm don't make me say Jacqueline Cavalcanti going to take that spot from her one day. I don't know. Robot said Norma's performance was oh yeah, it was far from the Irina fight. Hot and cold, yeah. Oh man, hot and cold, man. That's one of the rough. That's part of the. That's one of the rough parts of being a fan of some of these fighters, man. Like, how do you defend the fighter when they're hot and cold? Like, especially when they're cold. Like, you've been out a year, but you're getting closer to that belt. It's like, what's going on? Like, what you working on? What y'all working on out there? But yeah, good show, y'all. I am about to dip up out of here. Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe. And yeah, man, if there's a round by round y'all want me to do, because I got a little bit more time on hand. If there's a round by round you need me to do on either Valentine or Waverly, let me know. Think of I thought there was another one I wanted to do. I've already done Joanna Valentina, so we'll see, y'all. But just let me know. I'm out. Peace.